Hey guys, it's your boy Pat. Welcome back to the next episode of the Hollowed Down Cigar Lounge. Got a great show brewing for you guys today. You see over here, we got Justin with us, OG Chad down here, and we're about to bring in a first time guest on the show that many of you are already going to know. And welcome to the show, Ronnie from Secreto.
You said that right. I'm very proud of you.
How's it going, brother?
I'm, you know, trying to figure out a lot of things in life, like many others. Like one, how to get off certain bands off a cigar without breaking the cigar in half, which was what today's agenda. But we're not going to throw shade on anybody. But no, honestly, though, I have cigars in my life right now that I love smoking, and then when it comes to taking off the band, I feel like they're
Oh, I know.
forcing me to smoke another cigar because I'm just not wasting my time doing that. I got fat fingers; it's never going to work.
Yeah,
I was gonna talk to you about that too. One band here that's really giving me trouble lately is Ventura. Their paper bands suck to get off. The metal ones come off easy. I know I have to cut them, and then I always worry about damaging the wrapper.
I
I
was, I
have, I
was
look.
I don't know if I was going to ask Henderson or whatever lately because the first batches I got at ADV, I never had that problem. But the last few that I've got, I've been experiencing that. So I don't know if it's a glue change or what's happening over there.
Nah. They've been like that since day oneito, and especially the metal ones, no
So I just
different.
got lucky.
Metal,
Those come off
paper.
easy though. Like Henderson showed me how to take those off. You just kind of wiggle back and forth and get that glue loosened up. The paper ones will not come
You say
off.
wiggle back and forth and loosen it up, and you want to keep the cigar context. We need to stay on the path here, my friend. You guys are about to turn this into a different type of show. And listen, I'm a Scorpio, so I qualify.
Hey, that's fair.
No, Chad, I understand that because that box of ADV that we got from that sale, the whole box of King's Gold, it's literally like stuck in the cellophane. So I have to peel off the cellophane, and there's so much glue on the bands. It's like it's you
Did the
can't take it
glue
off.
come out of the band and it's actually touching the cello, so it's stuck to the
Yes,
cello? Oh, I
yes,
haven't seen that happen. That's not
yeah.
So
But
what I
don't
y'all are
worry,
all
thought.
Ronnie.
saying I just got really
No, you
lucky.
know what though? If a lot of times, so that's been repackaged by another retailer if it wasn't in a box or if it didn't come in a bundle.
It came in a box.
Came in a box,
Yep, but not
right?
from
Right.
Habibi, baby.
No, it wouldn't have made a difference. But I've never had that happen before. Um, you guys keep saying this name. Have you guys ever seen that ADV?
Let me
Which
pull you
one
up.
is
Which
it?
is that? It's reflecting on you.
Nope.
I can see the white. I can't see.
Put your hand behind
Oh,
it
we got
like
to do that
that.
shit. That's the worst. I don't even know how to do this stuff. It's so, I don't want to say the word on live color TV, but
You can say it. It's all right.
Is
there's
that
Is
the
a,
that?
Queen's Pearl diadema?
nope. You seen that one before?
Nope.
I have not seen that one at all.
Yeah, so these are going to be coming out this year. They're
I
shop
was hoping you'd
exclusive
talk
for
about
us.
those. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a real quick. I'm just going to say it's a shop exclusive we did. I can tell you that I've never publicly showed those, I don't think, Chad.
No, you showed them to me, but
Yeah, I understand. But yeah, so this is a passion project I've been working on for a while. And one of my favorite people to work with, not Henderson, his partner Nicole, because she's amazing. And I wanted to have something that could rival um, with more rival this puppy that we do here and
Mm.
this cutie right here. And the thing is
Ooh.
that I couldn't do it where I was going to do the same wrappers. And what I was looking for stylistically, we ended up trying to get there and we went into a whole different direction. And that's what happens when you have a plan to do something and I'm involved. It goes completely off the rails and we end up in two different wrappers altogether. So it's where you take Habano and we end up making, uh, we're just going to call it Maduro until we release a press release and a Connecticut. And they're very, you guys are going to enjoy them. I'll make sure you guys all smoke them when they come out.
That's awesome.
how much more do you want to share? Like, what's the Vitola, Ronnie?
So they're pyramids. I'm not going to get into the specific because they're doing a fancy press. I'm supposed to not even talk about this, but you guys
Mm.
already put a gun to my head and forced me to talk about it. But I'm going to tell you the name of the cigar. Uh, it's all about chicks on this one, nothing about dudes.
Okay.
Because if a guy makes a cigar about a guy, it tells you a lot about that guy, right? I made a cigar about chicks. I like chicks.
Never would have known ever.
And so when I think about that, like why I have all these social media bans and all this thing, because I think I talk about how much I like chicks so much that the others get upset. You know, the ones that don't like chicks so much.
That's fair.
How do you guys pick what cigars you want to smoke
Oh, easy.
You mean
I
every
picked
day or
right
or
now
I
for this show?
I
oh,
picked your
show
chubby.
Justin, show him what you got.
I got that golden child
Okay.
in and around my mouth.
Oh my god.
I brought something special.
Yep.
Yep.
He got
You
something
have
real
to
special. What do you
you have
got?
to tell him
So
what
I
these are, Ronnie.
almost pulled a golden child out, but I went OG Sober Mesa because I knew Justin at least was smoking one of the Don Dermas.
The chubby
Chubby.
So what
golden
Chad's
child.
got there is going to be coming out in about a month or so. It is
Oh,
going
you
to be a
sly
special
dog.
version of a Don Derma. It's 5 1/4 by 50 pinzone. It's a Saka made this for us to see how it would taste round. We decided this year to
Okay.
change it from just Don Derma to Don Derma and Golden Child. And rather than do the 6 by 48 just for a short run, we're going to do a 5 on 5 in one pack. And I didn't want to do boxes, just straight bundles, 5 on 5 straight from Hoya's factory to us. Save the customers some money, like a penny. And then from there, we will decide, like,
What you gonna
uh,
do?
no, just for that size. I mean, how the feedback
Okay.
is on having a round. We have the biggest production we have ever coming out of Don Derma this year, and the biggest production of Golden Child. And that's only because I think we're not going to have it in 2026, but we're going to come back crazy within 27. It's a tobacco issue. Tobacco is
Ah,
used for another project, and it means this year we just have a big batch, and then it'll go off for a year, and then back in business. I
gotcha.
made the mistake of having a before we start this. I pulled out cigars and I really was like, I'm going to see what they're smoking. We got the new Brownsback Robusto, and you guys got to try this thing.
Oh yeah.
Beans. And then Ocean Breeze. I've been smoking like a champion. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Lambert.
Yep.
Um,
Chad hooked me up on Lampert. He's the only reason I know about him, really.
Next
Same.
week, we got the 23s and 25s coming in Limitada. That's high on my list this year, like top 3 right now.
Oh shit.
Um, and then as I sit here, you guys are all smoking that stuff. I'm so torn right now between 2 cigars, and I've smoked both of them every day. I either want to smoke the Don Carlos or I want to
Ooh.
smoke a Sin Compromiso.
Shit.
You know what I'll tell you, but although I do like sin.
I'm just gonna go Eye of the Shark. Fuck everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
I smoked Sin already today once, and this is one of those cigars that for me, I don't know how you get better than an Eye of the Shark, but one day someone will teach me tobacco and we'll figure it out.
Hey, one of these
I knew,
days.
I knew Pat was going to be late in true form, so I
I'm always
started on
always
a
end
rare
up being a
pink.
couple minutes late. I swear.
So I
At
got
least I'm
nubbing this rare pink too.
Man, I like that Eye of the Bull. That was the first time I had it when Chad gave it to me. That little thing is fantastic.
Those are
I hate
great.
that cigar. I hate it, hate it, hate it. I finished a box in
You
I
liar.
finished a box in like a week and a half. And it's like you cut it, light it, and you're like, wow, this tastes so good. I wish it could be a Toro size. And
Yes.
Yeah.
you really don't. And then one guy was like, and I said it the other day. I kept saying Toro, and the guy goes, "Oh, that'd be great if it was in 6 inches." And I just looked at him and was like,
Really?
I mean, Robusto. You had to say a number. I said Toro. So I just think that like that cigar, it is what it is, man. People buy that thing to smoke it for a short run. No different than a short story, though, right?
Yeah, that's great. It's great. It's a 25-minute stick, man.
You
20
just got to
minutes, you're
take all the
done.
bands off right when you smoke it.
That's what I do with this
Hmm.
rare pink, man. It's like you can't even
Yep.
light it with the second band. Now you got to take it off before you light it. You'll catch it on
Hundred
fire.
percent. Hundred
So
percent.
Chad has that new Don Derma you're smoking.
It's actually I've had this for what, a year, Ronnie. I've
Over a
smoked a
year.
couple of these already. The
You've
round
had it
is
more than a year.
it's a little different than the box press for sure. I think. Well, now this one's been sitting a while. It was a little sharper when it first came out, but now it's really mellowed out. I think the box press softens it up. Is that just me thinking that, Ronnie, or is that really what
The
happens when you box
no,
press?
the opposite, man.
Is
When
it
it's a box press, to me, I feel
hotter?
like it's everything. Yeah, but I feel like in that cigar, I think that the spice, for some reason, in the box press, which is supposed to be stronger, is lighter on the box press, which is crazy. And then on that round one, it feels like it was a little spicier and less
Yeah, that's what I'm
sweetness on the
saying. I
second,
think it's
third.
spicier. The round is spicier for some reason. Now, is that normal of other
Nice.
cigars though? What do you find when you go? So it's opposite in other cigars,
I
more
think it's
mild and
so
round.
opposite. It's not even funny. Like for me,
Hmm.
um, I feel like every time I smoke a box press, it's always a stronger one, except in Don Dermo.
The only other experience I've had with that I found the box press was lighter was Corona has that box press Liga 9, and that
Yep.
cigar is so much more soft in
Yeah,
the
that's the
box
lounge
press than
edition
it
you're
is
talking
in.
about, right?
Yeah, but I don't know if they changed the blend or because it seems a lot lighter to me. I don't know. That was the only other one I've ever smoked that seems lighter in a box press.
Unless it's just
It's
not bunched the same and it's letting more airflow come through or something.
no, it's lighter because it's 100 years old. That lounge program is for all the shops around the country that were Drew Estate lounges. So there was a Liga, there was a Hoya Red, which I have. Were there was, I believe, there was a Herrera, the Liga number 9, the Sweet Jane, which I have as well, the box press. They all
Do
came
you
in a box
think
press Toro.
so? You're saying they were just made a long time ago, so they've got a ton of age?
Correctamundo.
Okay,
Okay.
that makes sense. I mean, you buy a brand new nine, it's going to be sharp. You let it sit for 3 years, it'll be a little more mild. So,
I feel like the Explorer box press is spicier than the round Vitolas for
It
ABV.
is. It is.
yeah, I love that cigar.
Yeah, that's a nice soft press
It's like Cocoa
box press.
Puffs.
See, you know what's funny is that when you have cigar smokers that smoke a certain style of cigars, they think Explorer is the shit. You got guys that think Explorer is like basic and boring because they like all the stronger stuff. And that's why I tell people all the time, it's like stylistically, wherever you're at in cigar smoking, that's where you're at in cigar smoking. You change all the time. I went through Connecticut season really, really hard. Like I only want my cigar of the year this last year was a Connecticut. It was I was so deep into Connecticut's because of Juan Martinez's Hoya Classico, Saka having Wagashi and Brulee Blue, Warped having also Santer as well as the La Colina 10 year, and then as passionate as we are about Opus 20th in this house. So like for me, I think
Mhm.
Connecticut last year was like a huge thing for me. This year, I'm sort of Camerooning it up, man. I've been on a hard, even Baca hybridized Cameroon. It's fire right now.
Vodka's so
These,
good.
yeah. So right now, the hunter gatherer, uh, the 556 and the fourth recorder by 60. All those three, everybody loves the big ring gauge ones.
I mean, it might be cliche, but that's why we all call this damn thing a cigar journey because you kind of go in and out of your palate changes, your interest changes, shit. You change things all the time and go with the next flow. So it
So
makes it interesting.
cigars are like chicks, man. You get one that you fall in love with, right? And then one day you eat Mexican food, and then that your favorite cigar tastes like shit for that day, right? And
Right?
then
Yeah,
but then well, hang on a sec. So then you take that shitty, then you like, wow, I had a perfect girl, and then I also had a perfect cigar, and then I had Mexican food one day, right? And then the cigar didn't taste good no more, and I feel like that's every relationship for me. Like it's good, and then it's just not good no more, right? And then you just want another cigar, or you want another, and it's just challenging for me because I've always been I switch rappers so often, and I think it goes to everything in my life. Like I get hung up on something. Like for a while, San Andreas was that thing, Broadleaf was that thing, and I keep trying to dissect every cigar that uses a certain hue, a certain wrapper, a blending style, and go to compare everything they make in that factory against each other and see how comparative those blends are. And I think that's why I love what Steve does with Hoya de Nicaragua and Noxas, because you don't taste any of his blends in any of the other products that they make.
Mm.
And I think Hoya crushed it with Classico, and it doesn't taste like Brulee. And their numero uno doesn't taste like Brulee. And their Citian Tangos doesn't taste like Brulee. And none of those three taste like each other.
I
That's a
agree with
good
that.
point.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
That's a good point for sure.
and that's a struggle. Like you can do that with a lot of other blends, but with Connecticut, it's so hard to make them all taste that much different. I think. I mean, that speaks to the.
Hence why I felt like the Warp Black Plum in a 10-year last year. And obviously, I smoked everything dry box, so everybody's going to have a different approach to it. But for me, I've always felt like when you look at a cigar and you cut it, light it, smoke it, and you're looking at the hue of the wrapper and you're expecting it to be something, I do the opposite. I'm constantly comparing it while enjoying it or hating it. And it's just like I taste a cigar that I fall in love with. Perfect example, right here. Gotta Fire Anniversario 60, right? And for a while, I was telling the boys, man, forget the 60. The money's at the 54. I switched. Forget the 60. It's the 54 Diadema, right? And then you smoke them, and you realize that time to smoke that cigar is another 40 minutes. So you're like, you know what, man? You go back to the 60 because I can smoke a different cigar. And now I'm telling everybody again, nope, I'm on the 60. It's like, bro, you said 54. Bro, it's not like it's one thing and end all be all. I
Right.
switched. One day blondes, one day brunettes. In this
And it's not
case,
like it's bad, so.
in this case, one day thick and the diadema is like a giraffe for me. So one's the model, one's the girl that you pick up at the bar 2 a.m.
The 60.
The comparisons are on point. Well,
For
Ronnie,
sure.
let me make a little stop here. So, we're 15, 20 minutes in at some point. So everybody watching the shows realize this at a point. This is obviously not one of our review shows. This was one of our shop talk shows. Obviously brought in Ronnie this time. But while we're in the middle of smoking various things on the show with you to kind of bullshit and hang out, I wanted to know one question. I know you've been doing cigars for a long time, but with the success and everything that I feel Secreto has had, what actually got you into that location and that part of the business when you first kind of changed gears into retail and everything? That's just a personal question.
I was in retail before. I was with a chain. I owned a couple stores, and then I decided when I left the chain retail, just brick and mortar shop, I wanted a cigar bar. I was really stupid, so I opened up across the street from my old cigar shop, thinking, "Oh, all my customers are going to come over there." And then you don't realize that I don't want any of those customers, and they didn't want me. So you start from scratch. You say, "What does that mean? You don't want any of them?" Because I was selling a different product then. And this was everything I picked now, right? And so I went completely boutique. We had no majors when I opened up. I'm such a boutique guy that we had. So put it this way: up until Heather came here last year, we had no General, no Altadis, no Rocky, no Perdomo, no LFD, no Plasencia, no Fuente except for the Prometheus side.
Oh, wow.
And the Fuente thing was a misunderstanding that I'm so happy happened because it made our relationship that much greater with that family and funnier as well. And I think that every time you meet somebody that mentors you in a different way, even when they don't know they're mentoring you, even if you spend 10 minutes with them and you don't know how much they're mentoring you, I think that guys like Henderson and William Ventura, it was both of them talking tobacco to me differently. But I think that the way they explain tobacco to me, I loved. But when Steve Saka does it, it's a way that you completely not only you trust the source of being fact and almighty, but you understand. Skip Martin, I feel is the same way. Skip can tells it to me much more technical, and Steve explains it to me like he was talking to someone that needed explained a little different too. But whenever you ask him a question as to why something happens in a cigar or anything, it's an instant response. And I think taking that is one part of the industry that you have to know. On the other side of the industry, I think that in this short time that he's been to the shop once, all because of Heather, obviously, but Carlito taught me and learning constantly. I need to be a nicer human, and I think he's the definition of the nicer human. I love Saka because he's not a nice human, and that's
Blunt
why I love
mouth.
him. And you see some personalities in the industry. I really don't look at anybody as being in a different space, like a better because you're a manufacturer, sure in the fuck don't mean you make more than some of these retailers out here and these online catalogs, right? So,
Right.
they get to sell one brand at wholesale, and the retailers get to sell every brand at Keystone less the discount to sell boxes, right? So
Hmm.
I think comparatively, like everybody's space has to be respected as we all do something different. And I think the biggest driving force right now in the cigar community is not the retail tobacconists, not the manufacturers. It's the consumers and the bloggers like you guys, because you're bringing people to the party, bringing awareness to the brands, awareness to the shops. The consumers are actually feeding me to where I can feed the manufacturers who can feed the factories. So people who forget that it's the consumers and all the guy, even when we hate your guys' reviews, it's still bringing light to the industry and
True.
every day. So it's
Good
always
or
good.
bad. Yep.
True. Because I mean, you got now. This wasn't. I've said this on the show, but it's just a good personal example. And this isn't how Chad found this, but when I first started this this podcast, a couple years ago, didn't exactly know how to do it, what to do it. Was doing it with a different group of guys, and one of the early shows we smoked a menace, smelled great, and that's pretty much the only positive we had for it. So we gave it a crappy review. It got attention that way. You fast forward 2 years, unrelated. Chad tried it. He loved it. So his personal review was completely different. He loved it. So in both aspects, even though we're giving completely different into the review, it's still something to give people information. So now you're going to want to go look this cigar up and see what it's about. So, it doesn't always, the good review isn't always what gets your attention. It's just getting the information out there in some form or fashion and then letting people do what they want with it.
No doubt about it. I mean, listen, everybody's got opinions. There's I can't tell you how many times I want to say something bad to reviewers because I know they know better, but I know that they just don't seem to grasp and understand one simple thing. I can smoke if somebody hands me a Sin Compromiso, and I think Steve Sock will attest to this. You hand me a Don Derma, a Golden Child, a Sin Compromiso, a Brulee, those cigars right there, I'm going to be able to tell you if anything was off, and it's really never happened. Like it could be a subtle draw issue, but it's never going to be a taste issue or a tobacco changer, right? So
Right.
when I smoke one of those cigars and it tastes like absolute shit, I know it's something I ate that day. And what I do is from that same box, I cut light and smoke, and it's 100% normal the next day. But it's you carry over with you spices, you carry over with you stuff. As long as you're eating sweet stuff, it doesn't impact what you do at all. But man, there are so many things that you can take in your mouth. It's going to take like change your flavor profile. What you take, it's crazy how much it changes. And I feel like consumers people will say like, "This cigar tastes like that," and you're like, "No, it doesn't. It doesn't even have one. That's not even one nuance. I don't care who you are. You have a better chance of having that nuance if your nose is plugged where you can't taste anything. There's no such thing. It's like someone saying they smoked some sweet cigar and they're like, "Oh, it's riddled with spice. I'm smoking Fat Bottom Betty." What? So but that's the thing. Like, I don't get like a lot of these guys don't understand. Like, bro, you just cut and lit a cigar. What did you eat today? You didn't eat donuts, that's for sure. Not a lot of bread. You didn't eat something in between. Like, it's just. I think you have to when you want to do reviews, you got to clean your palate.
When we had Kevin Shahan on the show, we kind of had that conversation as well because we were talking about reviews and palettes and we've got one guy in our group, Ron, that has an intense palate, and the three of us we're good, but there's a lot of things we never taste, and that conversation got us on to some of these online reviewers. When they put 17 flavors in a cigar, and we're like, okay, you're stretching now. You're just putting content out there, or some of this. There's absolutely no way, and he dug into that concept as well, talking about flavors that you pull out a cigar and what you're actually not pulling out a cigar versus what you're putting on a review. And sometimes I feel it's just a little overkill.
You know, the fact that you mentioned Kevin Shahan, he's a thief.
Yeah, you're gonna bring up the story, aren't you? This is why he wanted you to say
He's
this.
a no good motherfucker. He's a disingenuous hack. There is
Kevin, we
no.
love you.
He is the lowest of the low low. We should just change his name to Kevin Lolo. You know what? That'd be his only way he can get a hood name is if we baptize him that way. Because that man,
Kevin Lolo.
Kevin Lolo. So first of all, he's my head of tech. Anytime I have a technical problem, I
Your
call him
IT
right
guy.
away.
Right.
And I'm
Right.
like, yo, bro, I'm in the middle of a live and I got this thing, I got this. And he's like, bro, I got you. I don't do anything without having him host. People are like, why do you, dude? He's got so many sponsors now. I feel bad asking because he never tells me, no, I'm like, hey, I got this brand owner. He's like, bro, I can do whatever I want. And I get it, but I don't want to step on people's toes. He
Right.
moderates my shit for me because I don't know how to do shit, right? He's so good at all that stuff, but he has no choice but do it for me because he stole from me.
So tell him the whole
And he
story,
made
though.
million.
I,
He made he
You got
made
to tell him.
millions and millions, and he made millions stealing from me.
there's a story here we got to hear. I feel it coming.
So you know he built that beautiful room he did and all that fancy stuff, right?
Right. Right.
That's from my millions he stole. He stole
Okay.
my millions.
You have to elaborate, Ronnie.
So I made a post, right? And it was as a comment. It was a comment on a comment, right? Just a
Okay.
little video that I brought out of George Burns being interviewed, and they said to him, you know, he says, "What do you smoke a day?" And he says, "Whatever, 8 to 15 cigars, 8 to 10 cigars, whatever crazy shit it was, 10 to 15." And they say, "And what's your doctor think of that?" He says, "He's dead." Like, and there's, I think it's pause. He's all of them. So he outlives all his doctors. He's 100 years old, right? Kevin takes that video, steals it, doesn't say, "Hey, you know, I'm going to borrow this." Nothing. Goes and puts it on Instagram. That motherfucker gets 1 million views, 1 million more. It's millions of views, 1 million likes. He goes into fucking. They're paying him $1 billion. He's the richest man in social media from a little video that I stole. And I feel like if I
I'm
stole
saying
it,
you stole it. You know you didn't take that, right?
Just toss that in there.
well, it's not like I was there recording it, so I stole it, right?
Right. Right.
But I brought it to 2020 something, right? And Kevin got all the fucking he got, man.
What Kevin has is way more internet traction. That's what he has.
Well,
And
no,
With
he
all
catapult. He said it took him into crazy. Like he said, he had never seen nothing like that. He said it blew up his shit. But it's so funny because he's when I tell you he's so good at his tech shit. Like when I've called him up for crazy stuff. 2 seconds, he's got me in and fixed. Like he's just smart with that
yeah,
stuff. And
he
he
is.
sure in the hell doesn't look like that. But he's wasting his time in the cigar space. He's an idiot. He should be in the WWE. That's where he belongs. No, I'm dead serious. He's a character. He's not a regular human. He's a character. His real life, he's a character. He's not a real life human. He's a real life character from
His,
like 20 different shows in life. So,
he's got
and
some
his brain is
personality,
sharp.
that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And he does nudes.
We love Kevin.
Yes. Yes.
He's helped us out a bunch too.
Wait, Kevin does nudes? Is that serious?
Don't ask questions.
We don't judge. We don't judge.
No judging, Habibi.
No,
Nope.
Kevin's a good dude. We like I said, he's the one that got us linked up on StreamYard, and that was me. And when the first group of guys, I got one guy left in town from original in person set, and so I was me and Chad we'd met purely online, and you know we were just talking about it. I tried it with Justin because Justin just lives a couple hours away. We couldn't make scheduling work. So the group of us started talking about trying to do remote stuff. And I've done a lot of multimedia stuff throughout the years, but I'd never done remote recording. That's the one aspect I hadn't touched. So we tried it with one platform. We made it work, but it took me a god awful amount of work on the back end. And so I literally reached out to Kevin and was just bitching about things. And he kind of schooled me up on some stuff within like 10 minutes. And easy. So anytime I have as much of a computer guru as I am, if I have a question, I reach out to Kevin too. So just he knows what he's doing in that aspect. I give him that.
What Ronnie
No
meant to
doubt.
say is he loves Kevin and he's forever indebted to him. That's what he meant to say.
Is that the Ronnie translation?
Yeah, that's what he said.
I like Jessica a lot better, and she's way smarter in other stuff. Um, she's
Uh,
actually And I'm friends with Jessica. She's actually like, what's funny is she smokes 10 times stronger than he does.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Oh, she's actually a way better palate than him.
Uh,
Yeah,
He's still
I think he's
he's
actually
very
said
bush.
that too. I think he's actually said that. Like, if he doesn't know what's going on, he'll be like, "Hey, what are you tasting?" or whatever.
yeah, I got to meet Kevin at PCA, which was
They're
cool
great
because
people, man. They're
we'd
great
interacted a little
people.
bit. He's he's in our group and he's been on some of our herfs and we had him on the show, and so I finally got to meet
Solid
him and
family, man.
care. He's a
Good
great dude.
people. Good people.
So Ronnie, give us a little tour of your humidor, if you don't mind. You mind doing that?
Which one?
I don't know. Shit,
Ooh,
show us all of them. This is your time to show off.
the things we only hear about at night.
So how do I switch the camera thing to go the other way?
It should have a little like two half arrows. If you push it, it should spin it around.
We do it
Sorry,
live,
Mike.
people.
Heather, can you help me out here for a minute?
Oh, Heather's
So
gonna make an
without
appearance.
breaking nothing, right? They're saying I could spin this camera the other way.
There's Heather. Hi, Heather.
Hi, Heather.
I have no idea.
Well, maybe you can't.
Oh, no.
No, but
Maybe
we
that,
can
Let's do
do
a
maybe
it
they
maybe
selfie.
if
got
Let's
it.
I.
do a selfie tour.
So how about like that?
Yeah, it's
Ooh,
perfect.
look
Yeah, it
at
works.
that.
So there's some
Wow.
opposite. These just came in right now. Those are the KKPs that just came in, and
All
those are
those
open societies.
societies.
Yeah, we have to
Cool.
get those in the back. That's our Don Carlos's God of Fires, Opus Sixes, Opus Stories, Lost Cities.
Mm-hmm.
This is our Hemingways, more God of Fires, Opuses, Anejos, the Don Carlos family Anejos, Lost Cities, Forbiddens. There's so much in here I could go through, man. Angel Share,
I've never seen
Oros.
anything like that in my entire life. That's amazing.
That's what she said too.
That's
This is the bar. This is not where you want to come to if you're dry. And
Chad.
then this is our infused and flavored Drew Estate case.
Keep it separate, like it.
This is retail. And then this is where the magic happened.
Hell
There's
yeah.
Padron. Yep. So this is Hoya, Placencia, Curavari, Zeno, Davidoff, Espinoza, Camacho, Avo, Caldwell, Lost and Found, Crown Heads, Tamaza stuff, Roma, Aladino, Tatuaje, My Father, Villiger, Ashton, Newman's, Angelinos, a bunch of basic goods, Saga, Viaje, Sencillo, Dunbarton, ADV, LFD, more basic goods. And then this is a beast of a shelf here. That's every Liga.
Hell
Oh,
yeah.
look at that.
And there's Padron,
Mm-hmm.
Of course, staple.
me. And then I'll take you to and then I'll take you to the
Space no one knows about.
oh, hold up, man.
But you should probably show everyone your trophy at some point too. We don't
Bathroom.
want to see the bathroom.
No, he said trophy, not
Although
throne.
he has the
I
cleanest,
mean,
nicest bathrooms in the world.
in
You
Ron,
can't
hey,
miss them motherfuckers.
in Ronnie's defense, Chad did reference a full tour.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the house
Well,
swag.
I
And then
was
this
hoping
room
you'd
is
skip that one.
so these are orders coming in right now. That's a disaster, right? Then there's this room. And more here and here. There's just so much. Listen, that's what just in the last 5 days of crazy that and that'll all get organized by at least Thursday of this week. But
That
in
was
the way
Fort
I'm going
Knox back
today,
there.
well, the
Well,
thing is that we've got to reorganize, but we can't because Steve Saka just sent us another war chest. And when he
Ah,
sends us stuff like that, what happens is until it all lands, we can't start doing anything because if you get it all in, and then I gotta put it all back away. It's terrible because, like, for example, you get 50 boxes of Solita in, and you just made a spot for it, and then you get another 32 days later, you're back to square one. So I wait for all the when I see like 2, 3 invoices are out, I wait for it all to land. Then I put it all. Roma Craft, same thing, man. They just sent a bunch of different stuff, and I've got to get all that on the shelf now. But you also hope that you're selling most of it before it lands, so it
true.
makes it easier.
so to give you guys some perspective, he kind of went through that back room a little quick, but Ronnie, what would you say is back in that room in terms of the amount of boxes. You guys have done inventory back there in the past, right? Like, is there 3,000 boxes back there?
Oh, there's metric ton, dude.
It is
So
insane.
perspective. Like now, when Don Derma comes, they're gonna drop 1,000 boxes in our lap.
Whew.
I'm hoping that like between 700 and 900, 6 to 800 is a great number to be gone like instant because I'll have the labels made and shoot them out. But the reason why we have to go into a warehouse now is storage is impossible. And like people don't understand, like the more growth you have, number one, there's no elbow room to ship. And I don't know any cigar bar in the country that does volume out of a cigar shop like this. So it's like if you have a warehouse it's really different because where we're at. So I think that going into a new space for us is going to be the ability to bring in more brands that we want to carry. But I don't feel like there's anything that I'm going to bring in significantly better. There's two brands that I'm bringing in, and I'll leave those for another day until they're here. I don't do premature ejaculation. But the thing is that I feel like a lot of things that we wanted to bring in, there's just simply no space. And then a lot of charity that you want to do, you'd love that you don't have space because when someone comes in, you'll say, in about 2 years, you can get on the shelf because I could tell you right now, 6 brands. For sure, I could tell you. So Black Star, Crux, Bentley. Bentley's been here like a year. It seems like the first stores when they launched.
Right.
Never made the shelf yet. Black Star, Trade Show, Crux, India, like they haven't even got on their website yet. We're so far behind because we're a guy, a chicken, a mower, literally. Like it's
Right.
but it's because I micromanage everything, dude. There's no job I don't do in here, and Heather's like taking over the entire shipping department, and she was supposed to run the bar side, and she's my partner and supposed to be managing that. She hired people to do her job so that she can do mine.
People ask me
Sounds
all the
about
time,
right.
Ronnie, like, how come Ronnie doesn't sell singles? How come Ronnie, and I try to tell them the same thing. I'm like, there's literally 3 people that work there besides 2
Hmm.
bartenders. So they don't have the capacity or the staff to be splitting boxes, packaging 5 sticks at a time, doing single pick orders. I said that's why they just stick with boxes.
Brother,
But
I
you
don't
sell
only smoke
singles at the
cigars. There
bar,
ain't no
right?
way I'm picking. We can't. I'm not going to try to differentiate a 5 pack from a box on an order. I'm just going to always grab box. I'm not wasting my time.
It's
Well,
like
I
I
mean,
want.
that's really it, though. It's the size, like, and that's what works for you. That's how you
Mhm.
started killing it during COVID, was just blowing boxes out on lives. And
Now, do you do singles at the bar?
Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
yeah,
And
you
the
can
thing
walk
is,
in and buy anything you want single.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
So the thing is, though, is like also I don't pitch dog rockets. You'll never see me on a
No.
live talking about a cigar that I don't believe in. Like I have this. I have stuff in this shop that people have asked me to bring in that I don't smoke,
Yep.
and it's really pretty clear. Like I have brands that I will always support. Whatever they drop because they have a good track record. If they don't come out with a good cigar, it's not my fucking fault. I didn't make the motherfucker. Listen, if someone says I have a bad palate, um, cool.
Never steered me wrong.
I got about a fucking 5,000 other motherfuckers that say cigar Jesus, so I'm good with that.
There we go.
Yep.
You can't win everybody's hearts, and you try to win everybody's pockets.
And talking about like your selling module or model, me and Chad talk about this a lot. I've had a ton of sticks from your store, but you will not find my name on any of the orders because I rarely, and this is with any brand, I rarely get boxes. So I've gotten a lot of singles from you via Chad, like Kill Bomb, and I'll get them from Chad because
Yeah,
I
Yep.
just don't buy a lot of boxes, and I understand that.
dude.
So
All my boys, like I got so many guys in my squad. I tell them all the time on my lives. I say, I wish you guys buy cigars and make samplers and give them to all your friends and then just let them know where you got your stuff from because at the end of the
yeah,
day when I was doing this stuff like even during COVID like I put together all kind of stuff and I had guys that I like my friends that smoke cigars and it's messed up because like you want them to try your palate, right? So you put together a collection of what you think is hot and then a couple things where they say they hated it but you're saying, oh, I still want to try that, and you put it together and then you find out that your boy's probably batting 85%, 80% because I'm not selling rockets.
right, right.
And the 20% are not that they're bad cigars, just doesn't match your palate.
Mm-hmm.
If the tobacco's not clean, I'm not pitching.
And that's good because it's really hard in an industry, but especially something like this. If you're trying to push a product, get people to buy it, get people interested in it, when you can't actually give it good information from your own, your own mind, it's like I can't I can't sell you a product that I'm not interested enough to actually give you a good pitch on. So, from a consumer standpoint, in this token, I think that's more respectable than pushing the brands that you're getting paid to push. You're
So
getting honest feedback and an honest pitch on a product. It's more genuine.
let me tell you guys a story about pitching. First of all, I'm never going to be a receiver in nothing. So even when a
Catcher?
brand gives you something, they tell you, "Hey man, sell this." I gotta want it. I picked that brand.
Mm-hmm.
I picked them, right? So what happens is a guy like Steve Saka comes out with this cigar, whatever anniversary it was for JR, 50th. And the cigar was double Corona, Maduro, broadleaf. And I felt like I had to smoke it because I wanted to see like what one of those shop exclusives looked like for a house that big. And when I asked him how was it in a really faint and soft voice, he said, "It's good. It's good." Like nothing, right?
That's not like Saka at all.
So I buy the box, right? And I order it from them through a friend. They get the box. No, I ordered that one myself. And so I get the box, cut, light, smoke, and I'm like, fuck. This thing is stupid. Like the best broadleaf I'd ever. There's two broadleafs that rival each other in this space: Fuente Anejo and Saka Khan. Nika versus DR. Let's go to fucking war, right? And I smoked this thing, and I called them up, and I was like, "Holy fuck!"
I thought you were going
And
to say the
then,
opposite, that it was a turd.
I go cut, light, smoke, and I go live, and I'm pitching this for a company that's not only my competitor, they're a competitor to every brick and mortar. It's the stupidest thing you can do, but I was so in love with the cigar, I couldn't be disingenuous about it and be a hater. So they had X amount of boxes in inventory. He messages me the other next day and he called me. He's like, "Hey, did you pitch this? You did that cigar thing?" He said, "Yeah," because he sort of moved the needle. They're completely out. They want more. There is no more, right? But he goes, "I want you to know that you didn't pitch that for no reason." I said, "Why is that?" "Oh, you're going to have that in your lap shortly. It's going to be Saka Khan." Like, what? So I was like so happy. So I wasted that cigar takes 2.5 hours, but I did a 2.5 hour live, 3 hour live with that cigar, right? And then I said to him, when you have if it wasn't for the length of that cigar, I said the one thing I hate is I could say every time runner runner when I smoke a cigar and it's exceptional, I want to smoke it back to back. I call it runner runner, right?
Yeah.
And then I kept saying like in my head, "Oh my god, if this only came out," and then Papa Saka dropped. And that cigar is like Dances with Wolves. That motherfucker is the end all
Dances with
be all
Wolves.
Nicaraguan broadleaf. There hasn't been a cigar that wowed me from Nika since. Papa Saka and Saka Khan. One is the abbreviation of the bigger story. So, what's a better cigar? Saka Khan. What's the
For
best
sure.
abbreviation of a cigar ever? Papa Saka. It's the Cliff Notes, and they're all the notes are there. It's just a shorter burning cigar. It's the best balance that you'll see in ratios of two cigars that have a direct message. This one that tells this really elongated story, and here's the Cliff Notes. Knock yourself out.
Yeah.
I like
I
that.
didn't realize that that's where Saka Khan came from.
I did not either.
There
Yeah,
you go.
Saka
The
Khan.
more you know, right?
Can,
Hang out
And
with
you
can I?
know,
Ronnie.
as much as Steve Saka is blunt and out there and probably gives us, in his words, too much information sometimes, some of the best introductions to a cigar, even on his personal Facebook posts, is when he says something and it's so vague and he's like, try it if you want. I don't give a fuck. And then it comes out to be a banger. It's like,
So whenever he says that, that's telltale sign. It's a fucking banger.
right.
So, Ronnie, tell us a little bit about how Don Derma came to fall in your lap.
Oh, that's a damn good question.
The real story.
Yeah, I mean, how does Secreto get an exclusive? How does that work? Like,
I don't know who was before us outside of Famous by a couple months. Um,
So you were one of the first ones to get an exclusive
I think
with
right after Famous.
His famous was
okay,
the first, wasn't it?
the
Am I not
famous 80th.
Hold on though.
or
There was a cigar that was a Churchill Mi Querida that they did for CI, and they did a short torpedo of Sober Mesa for CI. Famous. I don't know any before that. So what happened was, it's actually a funny story. I was sitting, Tom Z that worked for Drew Estate and then worked for now Zeno
Yep.
or Davidoff.
Yep.
So Tom Zabard and me were sitting down. I'm a stoner, so I'm always like flaky. So I'm sitting there in my chair, and we open up a box, and there's these cigars, yellow band, and they say Don Derma on them. So I'm Chaldean, which is we're Roman Catholic Iraqis. Babylon, Mesopotamia, that's us.
Mhm.
So the crazy thing was, Don Derma is a Turkish word for ice cream, but we use it because the southernmost part of Turkey and the northernmost part of Iraq, that area there is where we live, and they live next door. So that's where Abraham is from. And so the crazy thing was, I call him up like, dude, that's a name. He's like, no, it's a Turkish name, dude. And we go back and forth. And I asked my dad, he's like, he's right, it's Turkish. I said, holy shit. So what happened was, we're sitting there. I'm so stupid at the time. I smoked it. I said, how many you got? He told me this number. I said, I'll split them with you. He goes, split them with me. I said to him, yeah. He goes, Ronnie, that's a test blend for a shop exclusive for you. We have like no website, no nothing. We got zero, right?
right.
So
What year is this?
2017 going into 18, I think.
Oh, wow.
Speaking of
So,
red,
or no, 2018, maybe exactly. So we get this cigar, and bro, I retroed this motherfucker and was like, holy shit, coffee cake, angel cake, pound cake, sweetness. This motherfucker screams.
love
This
that.
cigar slaps in a way that I've never had a retro. And I said, you know what? It took me years to figure it out. He knew I was on a serious Dominican palate. He knew that I like candied retros, really soft and elegant cigars, but he knew I was coming over the dark side. I was going Nika again. And Antonio Hoya was one of the cigars that got me into boutique sector. Juan Lopez got me into. I tried that a lot. He guessed by Tatawaha on the same trip to Miami. And then he gave me this cigar, and I was like, man. So it was a soft press, and they had no band on it. This little pigtail squiggly at the top, right? And the cigar it just was so good. And I was like, wow, man, I can't believe I'm going to have this shop exclusive. And I was thinking it was going to be sold in my shop and I'm have it forever. Never leave the store. We'd be, sitting on these things for an eternity. Saka wasn't exactly Saka in those days. He was, but he was screaming on the half wheel charts, but he was still,
Yep.
He was a lot smaller back then.
He's-
Yeah.
man.
He
And
was-
if I tell you, we sold. The more we can listen, that turned out to be the first release of Don Dermo. Do you know how those labels were made? I think my ex left me because of Don Dermo. She had to write by hand every shipping label because I was too
No.
fucking lazy to go get. I could have easily opened up the account. I killed her. She was up day and night. And then they came and we put one sticker on every box. And the website was nothing then, man. It was like one item shit. It just said Don Derma only. It was so fucked up. And so it was crazy. We did Don Derma. And when I got the box, it said retro healing. Strongly recommended for the full experience. It's because I don't know how to smoke a cigar one single puff without retroing. I don't know how.
I'm
You
the
told
same
me,
way.
try. I gotta plug my nose. So the thing that was crazy about it, he gets credit for everything Secreto is today. 100%. Not 99, 100.
which we actually had this conversation, not to that extent, but when we were talking about what we were gonna all smoke when we came on here, obviously Don Derma was an obvious conversation for us. But we did not, I personally, Chad may have, I didn't know that specifically at the beginning, but we did know that there's a pretty strong bond with you, Socket, and Dunbarton. So we did want to, that's why we're smoking these on the show
Listen.
with you, but I didn't realize it was that directly intense.
He came to visit me one day at the shop, right? And he said, it's no event. We're just going to sit down and smoke. And I had big health issue. Bad, bad, bad. I'd been going for testing. I went from like 149 pounds, 150 pounds up to over 200. It was water retention. They couldn't get it out of my body fast enough. It lasted almost 2 years. I went from a size 9 shoe to a 13, just to give you perspective.
Oh wow.
And the thing is, I was sick, and he came and he saw me. He's like, called me up. He goes, listen, I didn't want to tell you this, but you need to take care of your health. You look like you're fucking dying. And I said, I know, man, this, that, whatever.
Steve
And
Saka says this to you, you know you're in trouble, right?
I was just
yeah.
about to say that.
And so
Coming
the
from
thing
Sokka,
Mm-hmm.
thing is that like we did this, like he knew I was a tobacco nerd. Everybody's always known I was a boutique tobacco nerd. I was the perfect guy for this. But it's also like him saying in a weird way, I found this shitty piece of coal, but I know there's a shitty diamond somewhere in there, right? It's gonna happen. And
Right.
it's not gonna be the fancy diamonds, it's gonna be the shitty one. And then go flash forward to like fucking I go get married and then I come back home and he puts this marketing campaign. Whatever you buy from Ronnie, he's going to, for a wedding gift, he's going to mail you that gift to you. And I'm going to start, and he ordered a box of Sin, a couple of unicorns, and he sends me a message. I want my fucking soccer squatch. And then by doing that, he ends up sending me the product, doesn't charge me for what I sell, and it pays for my wedding. I had like $11 to spare, 111, I think the math is. And it was funny as shit. And then I call him up like a dry beggar one day, and I'm like, yo, man, you know, I didn't have any savings. I put everything in my tobacco shop. I'm a fucking retard. I need you to do me a solid, man. I got to make a cigar because I got to pay for Gray's college, man. I want to get it out of the way. And we're talking, and I said, you know, we come up with this concept together, and it drops, and we sell like fucking. It was 600 boxes in 27 hours and 22 minutes. Paid for Gray's college. Papa Saka, just like that, right? So now he pays for the wedding and takes care of the child. So now I know if divorce, call him up, got to pay for it. I want a new shop. Hey, Papa Saka, get me into a new shop. You want to just beat that drum forever. And I tell him all the time, motherfucker, you cannot die. Never. I got to leave the cigar business before you can think about retiring or dying because we do such a big Dunbarton business. But it's not only that, like mentor, tobacco knowledge, tobacco questions, real life situations, always talk to Papa Saka, everything, right? But everybody has always looked at him in the tobacco space as like the mean side of Steve, right? And it's I don't even know. I've known it twice. He's been a dick. I can recall both those times. But overall, big brother about everything in life. And Cindy, 1,000 times him. Yvonne, same. Anna, amazing. Amber, great. Everybody in that company's money. Mariana met her, great. Everybody in that company's amazing. Dave Lafferty, fuck, one of my good friends.
So, yeah, he does things right, and it's talked about in a lot of places, not just here, that you know, personality sells, and kind of like we talk about with you. Since you're here, screw it. You know, there's companies and people and brand owners and faces that are almost beating a script, saying, "I feel like I got to do this. I got to turn this coin. I got to say this for the money." And then there's people that are just genuine, honest, down to earth people that say what they feel, say what they want, and do what they want. And obviously, you're one of them. You know that. You say it. We agree. We like it. Steve is that way too. It's like this is my opinion. This is my suggestion. You like it or you don't. I'm still going to do what I want. I still want to do what I like. But not even just from the blogger reviewer side, just from a consumer standpoint. Not only is it entertaining and interesting, it's super refreshing, and you know you're getting facts. You know, you're not getting some sugar-coated bullshit. This is what he thinks. This is his opinion. And at the same time, you're trying to get information from him. Even if he's not talking to you directly, you're learning something from him because of how he portrays something. So I feel like he's almost like not just a Dunbarton ambassador, but almost like a cigar industry ambassador in just genuine purpose and how this whole thing happens.
That's how he started. He was a blogger, then he worked for JR, then DE. I mean, he's always been a tobacco nerd. But listen about that. I feel like the way I was courted on this was very Star Wars like, right? He came in this fusion type of guy. He was a rebel like Han Solo. His, Saka Squatch is Chewy. And then he came in like Mr. Obi-Wan. And then he saw me and he came to me in a weird way and said, "Look, man, I know you want this to be this story where you're like Luke Skywalker and I take you and I show you the way, but we know that you're Anakin. We're going to let you stay Anakin and I'm going to let you kill. When you go
So
turn Vader, I'm going to
Darth
let you be
Maul.
you. I don't give a fuck. You sell the way you want to sell, say what you want to say. I'm not controlling you. You didn't have to say any of those things. I just know by the way he let me do me, right? Including making
Right.
memes of him nonstop.
Right.
And so, like, you think he gives a fuck if I make a meme about him and I sell 600 boxes of cigars in 27 hours and 22 minutes without a fucking post from him? Like, it's
No.
the stuff. And so, what he'll do, like, we have this stuff where I'll tell him, I have to say to him, like, yo, bro, do me a favor. Don't say nothing. Let me run Don Derma this time. And I want you to close it out for me. So, we'll be at 540 boxes. There's 60 left. Oh, I sent out this retailer a post, not a link for me, not enough. Then the next guy comes up, and this motherfucker's got a blog about their cigar. And I'm like, well,
Right.
look, man, when I say I want it all on my own, it's like the halfway point, kick into overdrive. Let's do some shit, right?
Right.
But he lets me write the check in my mouth to see how far I want to cash that check, and he'll close out. Big Papa comes in for the big swing. I
Mm-hmm.
love that shit about him, man. He let me grow in this space to where, without getting into numbers, what our number was when we started with the online compared to where it's at today, it's fucking, I don't believe it, man. I pinch myself every day. And it's like, it's a guy that's cheering for you in a way that you just can't match that level of cheer. But he doesn't say it with a pom pom. He says it with product. He says it with when we talk tobacco. He says it when we talk idea and concept. He says it in a respectful way. He doesn't do it like a kid, but he does treat me like a kid when he talks. But it's just he's let me grow at my pace, my speed. He doesn't tell me to do anything any other way. Never an idea from me for fucking nothing. I love that about him
Mm-hmm.
the
because he
fact that
knows I'd
Ronnie
probably do
just
the
quoted
opposite.
Star Wars like that makes me love you even more, Ronnie.
Oh, Ronnie
It's
loves Star Wars.
fantastic.
So back to Justin's cigar. How did that come about?
I called
That's
him up and I said I want Chubb.
You want chubbies? And he was
So
like, "Cool, no problem," or did he give you
So
shit?
I saw I always wanted that cigar mold for
The
something new
U-boat.
and fun. U-boats, what set it off, man. I saw that
Yep.
motherfucker and I said, well.
Depth
That just
charge.
and that, by the way, those guys from airplanes to trade shows, I don't care. The Rockies crew to me is salt of the earth. I
Yeah,
love that whole
Rockies is
squad
those
there.
guys are cool. Mike's cool.
Good people. They've always support our shop. We love championing their stuff. We tell all our customers, make sure you get that Rockies drops. I think their videos have been the most. They put a lot of time into doing those videos for U-boat.
Yeah,
I
that's a
used to
good
love.
stick too. I really like that cigar.
Indeed.
It's one of
Chad,
the
you're the one that
exclusives
gave
I
me that
really
one.
enjoy.
That one was really good.
I don't
Specifically the
like them
depth
all.
charge
I
too.
won't. I'll be honest. I don't dig them all, and a lot of them are. I feel like some of them are repetitive on themselves, but that one's great. It's
Yeah,
completely
that depth
unique.
charge was fantastic that you gave me.
That one and frog juice. I can't stop smoking.
I think you sent me the first frog juice I tried, and it blew me away. I didn't expect it to be as solid as it
Same as
was.
well.
Those are two of my boys as well. Jeff and Hunter, great shop, Riverside. Those are
Riverside.
good
Yep.
people, man. Jeff was one of those guys who used to shoot the shit with during COVID and see he was telling me stuff that was available for me and things I could try to apply for and grant stuff like that. He's just and I did the same with it. Like we went back and forth. I don't even know. Maybe I called him up about that and told him about it. But I know that another one, like we've always been friends. That's the whole nother thing. So that we're both Dumbarton guys and Roma guys.
Right.
Brett at Tobaccology as well. That's my
Yeah,
brother
we
from another
we
mother.
talk about that all the time about how the people in the cigar space aren't typically trying to crush each other. They're usually trying to help each other out, and that's one of the differences in this space compared to other competitive markets, right? Like the tobacco space is completely different.
It is.
You're friendly with
It's not.
everybody, even if you don't
It's
like them. You're friendly with them. Maybe not Ronnie. Ronnie's not friendly with
The only
anybody,
time
but
I see shade thrown is towards Cigars International, but that's because those places put a lot of mom and pop shops out of business.
yeah, they're tough
That's
to
the only
compete
time I
with.
hear shade being thrown. Other if it's not comical, like we were talking shit about Kevin and Sock. Yeah, we're just talking shit just to talk shit. But other than that, everyone's very supportive in the industry.
Yeah.
I think, and almost, this year is the first year that we started bringing in guests that's outside of our, our what we call our OG group for the show. The first year we started bringing in people, and it has been very consistent. Doesn't matter who we're talking to, Kevin, Greg Freed, James Garcia, BL. Everybody has had the same exact feeling, and I forget which one of the shows um, we made a comparison. It's like the cigar industry, for the most part, is a legit brotherhood. Not to be cliche on the term, but everybody is trying to push each other, support each other, have fun with each other. In contrast to, you have like the shoe market that is also making millions, but everybody's competing against each other, and you have that type of market pool. In the cigar world, you're almost competing for each other, because the more that I push you up, the more it's going to help me, because people are going to try new things, they're going to talk about new things, and it's very, on one hand, entertaining, but it's also refreshing to kind of see this whole gambit come together, and it's just badass in my opinion. But everybody that we talk to kind of has a very similar feeling overall.
Well, a good example of that is like when we had Ian from Dapper on. Ronnie's championed him for a couple of years now, and like
Yeah,
the project they did together and things like that. They need each other in order to make the space grow, right? You have to have one another.
Ian, another guy, salt of the earth, great people, man. I love that guy.
Hmm.
It's funny, like the cigar space. Let me say the right way to say this. What's a PC way to say this?
Yeah. Well,
We haven't been
say it up.
PC the whole show.
Yeah.
Just
Why,
say
why
it.
don't you just
So,
go ahead
like,
and let it
here.
fly?
So, you, it's very hard not to be a dude's dude and be in the cigar space. If you're not the definition of dude, you ain't gonna fit. It ain't for
Yep.
you. Smoke at home in your backyard by
right.
yourself. If you if you walk to a cigar lounge and it's intimidating to you, then you have a major fucking problem with security, because the cigar lounge is the most inviting place. I heard one jack off one day say on a live or some shit somebody said to me. It said it's very intimidating to walk into cigar shops. I think it's the most inviting place anywhere you go in the world. The number one place ever is a cigar shop. You'll sit down, you'll know a guy for 3 minutes. He's opening up, buying you a cigar, handing you a cigar, talking tobacco. What are you smoking? Like, it's engaging.
Right.
It's the only place where you can walk in, meet somebody, and it be another guy, and you're not being the other type of guy. And you're like, yo, talk tobacco and everything. No, it's like nobody. I would never walk into a sporting event and just look over and start talking to a guy. You can sit through a whole football game, you might not say nothing to a guy, but in this
Yep.
tobacco shop, 3 seconds in, the owner, manager, everybody's part of your life, right?
I
And
feel
you
like you're
keep
best
going back.
friends.
Yep. So the one thing I also love about most of my tobacco guys, they love chicks too. So and it's so funny because it's like, that's why I say it's a dude's empire.
Hmm.
If you're not the guy who got tough skin, and you're not the guy that can shoot the shit people, it's a great place for you to learn how to do that. There's a lot of ball busting that goes in tobacco shops, especially here. We terrorize our customers all the time about what they smoke, or if I see a post from them from another shop's product of something I think is an absolute rocket, I'll troll that guy to death in real life. you know on his birthday, I'll tell him I would have sent you a gift, but I saw that you start smoking the other side. I don't carry Drek, so bye. And
Right. Right.
it's so funny. Like, I'm a cigar snob, but it's like I feel like there's so much in the tobacco space that's not worthy of being in the tobacco space because somebody could afford to come out with their first little run, right? And then
Right.
there's people who are like busting their ass off and genuine to their craft, and there's competition, and that's democracy, that's capitalism. So I love it, but I also love the part where if a guy like Steve Saka ever were to be an asshole and decided he wanted to just slander brands, he could probably kill a third of the industry.
Oh yeah.
Right.
He doesn't need to though, because he's already killing two-thirds of the industry, and it's what we talked about. His customer engagement. He engages with his customers nonstop, and so does his whole team. Dave Lafferty, I mean everybody, Anna, and then they have the best customer service in the industry. There's no one that is even
Phenomenal.
close.
Phenomenal.
I can
They
preach to
fix
that.
problems on Facebook. Justin just had a $100 cigar blow up. They sent him a brand new one, and they sent him some extra stuff.
Yep.
So the $100 is never going to be because of a factory in almost every instance. You know why the cigar blows up, right? Cigar blows up because of a temperature change, and I see more of that than Steve Sacco will ever see because I'm in a cigar bar with a patio. And when you take a cigar that's 70 over 70 and you go out onto the patio, that motherfucker, if it's a thin wrap, it's not going to happen. I bet you it would happen to a Brulee Blue Unicorn.
No, actually, Chad, it didn't explode. It wouldn't smoke.
Oh,
And
it's
it was a
plugged.
it was a it was
Plugged.
a Mikita Black Unicorn.
Yeah, that's different. That's just and that's a handmade product. I thought you meant it exploded because that's going to be temperature change.
Yeah, I got the
Right, right.
story wrong,
No, but
but the
either
point in it
way,
was that they fixed it for him, like, and
yeah,
he didn't
it
even
didn't
ask.
smoke. It didn't smoke, and then Anna sent me a new one, and it didn't. It rerouted itself back to them, and so I told her, and then so they shipped out another one, and the address was wrong, but luckily it shipped to the shop that I got it from. I went there, picked it up, no problem. Told Anna I appreciate it. She was so nice, such a nice person. Again, they sent me a whole mess of stickers, and they sent me. Matter of fact, I think they sent me a Robusto bronze back,
Mhm.
just a single. But they sent me that classic Dunbarton sticker that I have been wanting forever, and now I have it.
And
Their
So there's
customer
a
service
customer that
is
was here
phenomenal.
earlier, Pete. There's nobody in the country, I don't think, that smoked more Mikita Black Unicorns than Pete. Never had a bad issue. You know why? He smokes them all live here. You know, there was a streak that he went on. It was like 20 straight days he had a black unicorn. It was something, or like 20 out of 30 days. It was something crazy.
Damn.
And yeah, and we're like, yo, bro, you need to chilito on that. So one day I'm telling Saka this story on the way coming into the bar. And it's Saka being Saka. I'm telling him this story. I'm like, you're never going to believe who's in the parking lot of the shop right now walking in. The guy, Pete. So I said, hang on. So I put him on speaker. I said, hey, Pete's over here. He says, hey, Pete, want to let you know you keep doing what you keep smoking those $100 cigars. We appreciate Clowna. And he was just laughing about it, man. Knock yourself out. And Pete switched to Saka Khan and Papa Sakas, and he uses those like cigarettes now.
Those
Yep.
are
damn.
so good.
He
Yeah.
likes those
Most of that stuff.
pataperos too, man.
Oh, he
He
buys
likes those
boxes of
long ones.
he only buys boxes just so he can get pataperos.
Hmm.
To speak to the cigar industry, when I smoked with Eric Espinoza, he sat down and just shot the shit and bust balls. I really appreciate those kind of people. Those are down to earth motherfuckers.
There is
That's
nobody in the cigar space, nobody that when I call on the phone, including Matt Booth, which is a big thing to say because Matt will take me to a whole nother solar system. But Eric
another
Espinoza
dimension.
matches my energy. Him and Juan Lopez, I would say, are the two guys, Juan from Gurkha and Eric Espinoza, the two guys that if I pick up the phone to call them, it ain't about tobacco.
Hmm.
Never. Juan, yes, sometimes, but Wani became a grandpa recently, as did Eric, and Eric did not change, and Juan changed. He became nice, and Eric stayed gangster. Uh, that's because Juan was never gangster. Juan was like, Miami hot boy, right? Eric has been thug since he came with. I love Eric, man.
Yeah,
He
he's
did
an
my
awesome
grand
dude.
opening to reopen after COVID.
Oh,
Oh, no
nice.
shit.
Yeah, man. That's my
Yeah, he's a
dog.
cool dude.
Yeah, we've come across some good people, and Hendo's one of them too. And me and Justin finally got to meet him in person when he came to Texas the end of the year, and he's another one. He just sat there, and me and Justin feel bad, but on one aspect we also don't. And I kid you not, we talked to him. We were kind of shooting the shit. And I shit you not, we just mentioned the fact that we knew Chad and Chad knew you. And that was the day that he called, I think, oh no, you
No,
called.
yeah,
Chad called, but you were on the phone. And that's the day that we hooked y'all up. But it was just that simple.
You
It
remember
was
that
just,
when you were on live, Ronnie? You're like, yeah, have him call Henderson on Justin's phone, and you were like,
yeah,
baby,
yeah,
baby, baby.
Yep.
He
yeah.
was in
There was like
Texas.
a group of 10 of us in the humidor at CI, and you
He
were
was
on the
so
phone with them.
confused.
We were all around laughing,
it
hearing
was,
you two go back and forth. It was hilarious.
That's
but
legit like my son, by the way. I
he was
love
good.
Hendo.
But the reason I feel bad, but don't, is we were sitting on the other side of the lounge space. He was doing his event over there. Well, we ended up grabbing a table close by him. The idea was so we could let him do his business. And he kind of did, except instead of staying at the table, every time he came back and sat down and talked to us just because of the camaraderie that we built. And it was people like that are just amazing. It makes this whole experience worthwhile.
Me and him were in a fight that week, by the way.
Oh, you
Really?
were?
I
Why
wasn't
am I not
talking to him for like
surprised?
a week, and so I called Justin. We called him on Justin on FaceTime.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
I wouldn't have called him.
Well, you
Well,
did.
his reaction was funny because we didn't tell him you're on the phone. We're just like, "Hey, Chad's on the phone."
Yeah,
His
somebody
rea-
wants to talk to you. Somebody.
oh yeah, somebody. His reaction was fantastic, but it was worth the moment.
Oh yeah, he got a baby for sure.
That's my, every time I see your lives, that's what I always start with. I always say, "Baby, baby, baby."
So what's funny when he says it now to me, he says B. That's
Yeah.
like the Dominican twist. They fuck
Yeah, his
everything up from
accent. Yeah.
Spanish. Oh yeah, dude. He's
Uh,
yesterday. I was yesterday. I'm with a guy knows everybody in the cigar space. Right? He's Dominican. He's at a friend's house. We're backyard smoking cigars, hanging out by the pool, and we're talking. We're mentioning William Ventura Henderson's father. You know him? He's like, yeah, he's my good friend. Da da da. Call him on FaceTime. All you got to do in Spanish, tell him you're with his son. Sure as shit, he calls the dude. He doesn't answer. I call him from my phone. FaceTime. His dad answers. I hand the phone to the guy before he sees my face. Guy answered. They instantly start speaking Spanish forever. Then hands me the phone, and Henderson's there in the corner. And I was like, Henderson didn't even know, dude. His dad didn't know him real well. And so it was funny, like, it was like me and Henderson were looking at each other, smiling, and Henderson's giving me those eyes, like, who the fuck is dude, right? So it was just hilarious that, like, now I have a guy in Michigan that's a Dominican guy here, and he knows Henderson's father, and they're talking on the phone, and that just tells you how small the tobacco world is, man.
Right.
yep, for sure.
Well, Ronnie, it's kind of the worst part of the show, and we did go over on purpose, but I didn't give a damn. I wasn't cutting this shit off because this has been badass. But man, it's over an hour just shooting the shit, conversation, learning about how you started some things, between the shop and Don Derma, and then of course all the rambling we like to do. But I'll tell you, man, it's definitely gonna have to keep you on the show every once in a while because this has been very entertaining, very very friendly, and that's what we're all about here. So, man, I appreciate you taking time to come out, smoke with us, shoot the shit with us for little while.
I'm going to leave you with some words, and I want you guys to never forget this. It's what I am in the tobacco space. I tell people all the time I'm the best that never did it because I never tried to do shit. So the thing is, I tell people read less, smoke more, read less, smoke more. And then when you go to read a half wheel. And that way you have that benchmark of what you want to hate or love about whatever they review, right? And keep a mental note because I think they're the only news publication in cigars, period. And then when I look at their reviews, some of them are challenging. Don Derma got an 89, and they're like Camacho and Leash got a 91. You know, some people eat pizza, others suck. You know, it's like everything's different, right? So if you read less and you smoke more, you become that reviewer, right? It's what you
Right.
guys do every day. And then when there's a half fill, you'll understand their palates, but there's a multiple guys reviewing there, right? Brooks is there, Charlie's there, Patrick's there. So you guys are three guys, they're three guys. You're not always going to all agree. So people are like, oh, can you believe Halffield? No, Halffield didn't. Brooks did. Charlie did. Patrick did.
Yep.
One guy's bigger body, one guy's more spice, one guy's lighter. So I would always say the closest palate to Halffield to me is Charlie.
I've heard
Euro,
that.
Euro meat and taco seasonings and all. Charlie.
Euro
And
meats.
we did this just by accident, really. But when we do our review shows, some we've seen people they'll read the entire novel, and the closest we get is we'll put up and we'll just mention like a couple notes that they say that we might expect to feel. And then we go and start smoking it and we don't reference that again. And we kind of see, okay, do we agree with it? Do we like it? Do we hate it? Sometimes we all agree with shit. Sometimes we don't. And it's, giving your own palate and your interest and just kind of going with the flow, man.
Guys, I wish you guys the best luck. Stay in the game. Nobody gets in this to become rich. You do it because you love it. If you get rich doing it, great. If not, fuck it. You're still doing what you like doing. It's the best hobby. I don't know of a better hobby that you can actually meet. Think of any industry. You get to meet factory owners, brand owners, reps, retailers, consumers, guys in groups, bloggers. You get access to everybody relatively easy. You can meet everybody in every space if you just stay in the game long enough. It's the best hobby I know of. And keep having fun doing it. That's the most important part. I love you guys for having me on your show. I look
Absolutely.
forward to making money on all of you later. And
Indeed.
You made all the money you're gonna make on me, sir.
baby, we know that.
You're gonna keep spinning. Well, it's another great
Yeah,
show,
I know.
guys, and definitely not gonna. Hopefully, not gonna be a one-time shop with you, Ronnie. We definitely appreciate it, and everybody down there in YouTube land and wherever you're paying attention to this, thanks for hanging out with us. Y'all know the drill. Till next time, stay safe and hollow down. But I'll tell you once it's uploaded.
So I have you by the balls.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Chad, he's going to get one of those at the end of this show. Gentlemen, you all have 1 second to make a purchase. If and when you don't, bye-bye.
Ding.